Welcome in. I Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is all in the charts. If you appreciate the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, drop me a comment, click the bell icon for all notifications to know when I go live each and every single weekday. I hope everyone has had a nice extended holiday break here, Memorial Day weekend. Most of us had an extended weekend. Some of us worked, perhaps. Some of us did not and had the day off. So it's going to be a shortened work week for some of us. Of course, as you may know, I am starting a new job on Tuesday, which I'm very excited about tomorrow. And kind of getting back at the regular schedule here in terms of the live streams going off Monday through Thursday, which I shared with you guys earlier. Just as a quick reminder, I will be here Monday through Wednesday around normal time between 5 to 5:30 Eastern Standard Time, p.m., and then on Thursday, I'll be live streaming around 5:15 a.m. For a live TA Q&A on Thursday version to meet with a new segment of the audience that I typically can't interact with during the week. Oof, let's fucking go. Raghorn, welcome in, my friend. A lot of things to talk about in the charts, but I kind of wanted to, before we begin looking at charts, I kind of wanted to share some thoughts I had with everyone that are very relevant to the current times within the market. So, as you know, I spend a good amount of my time, just educating myself in all sorts of different ways. It's how I spend a lot of my free time, right? And one of the things I was doing today, if you're not aware, Raoul Paul, the Journeyman YouTube channel, just put out a brand new, it's like a 2-hour long video on the Everything Code. And the Everything Code is something that I have spoken to in times past. This is nothing new. If you're new to the channel, I've spoken to the fact that there are a lot of views within his frame of view surrounding the business cycle and the liquidity cycle, which is the liquidity cycle really drives everything. There are charts to support a lot of things. Very interesting. And I know that Tech Dev, I also speak to the fact that I'm subscribed to Tech Dev 52's newsletter, and a lot of the views he takes on, and I know he's mentioned Raoul Paul in his newsletter a few times, kind of mirror a lot of the thoughts surrounding the liquidity cycle. And so why am I bringing all of this up? I'm bringing all of this up because one of the things that I've noticed, how my work is paralleling Tech Dev 52, is the sense that I have indicators, and while some of my indicators differ from his, I have a set of indicators, and they're going to tell me with as high a degree of certainty as one can have when it's logical to begin selling out of this market. However, both he and I are very open-minded to toppings occurring within this market cycle, all sorts of different scenarios. So what I mean is, when I look back on 2022, one of the biggest mistakes that I made that I shared with you guys is I had a primary view and I stuck to that primary view, and I watched my primary view go out the door when we had this irregular correction within the market, and I was caught very off guard. And so one of the things that I wanted to make sure to do from that time in my life when I made that mistake was to learn from it. It's one of the best things you can do in life is to learn from your mistakes. So there are views out there that show Bitcoin topping third, fourth quarter this year. I think we can throw out the door pretty much that Bitcoin's going to have a blow-off top in June or July. I think we can throw that out the table. We'll see how this week goes, but I think we could rule that out. But there are views that show Bitcoin topping in the third or fourth quarter of this year. There are views that show Bitcoin topping in the first half or second half of next year. And there are also views that show we could have one cyclical blow-off top this year or early next year. There are views that say, hey, maybe we'll have sort of like a mini blow-off top this year, consolidate for an extended period of time, and have another blow-off top next year. There's so many different views in terms of how this is going to go. And all we can do is absorb as much information as we can to make an informed decision. However, what I do plan to do recognizing that there could be a whole host of different scenarios surrounding timing, I'm sticking to this. When these indicators begin to tell me, because you have to understand, these indicators historically, when a significant amount of them begin to flash green in this case, to sell, that is telling you the market is very overextended. And I, knowing this, will feel very comfortable beginning to sell out positions of my investments. Then let the chips fall where they may in terms of a correction. Are we going to have a long bear market? Are things perhaps correcting, but we're going to see a long period of consolidation before another blow off top? We can make that assessment at that point. But what I'm trying to convey to you is recognizing that I'm not going to be stuck to one narrative, this blow off fifth wave that needs, that my primary view was in the first half of this year. I think it's becoming very clear it's not going to happen within the first half of this year. And I don't want to be married to one view, right? But I need to have statistical data, empirical data that in the past has proven to be correct, that is telling me that things are extremely overheated and you'd be very smart to begin selling out. That's how I plan to use this information. When these things begin to flash, you'll know it. I'll share it with you. Hey, I'm going to scale out 20%. I'm going to scale out another 25%. I'll scale out another 10%, 30%, whatever the case is. And again, feel comfortable that while I'm not going to call a perfect top in this market, no one can, I'm at least going to be selling near the top. And whether that's part of two tops or one top, again, we can reassess after selling out. But I am sticking to empirical data. I'm not allowing my emotions to control me. I'm not allowing a one tunnel vision view to control me. I have 6 indicators. And when the majority of them begin to flash, it tells me with a reasonable degree of certainty, it's really smart to be selling. The last thing I'd leave you with, and I've hit on this a few times, for those of you who think that it's overdoing it having 6 indicators and you're like, well, the price cycle has never failed. Guys, nothing is 100%. Nothing will indefinitely last forever. Did we not just make an all-time high in Bitcoin before the halving? That's never happened before. If you were to make a bet on something and say, well, Bitcoin's never made an all-time high before the halving, it's never going to do that. It's impossible. We just did it. That you can take 2 things away from that. One, it should tell you that you shouldn't rely on one thing. Okay, the price cycle is not going to work forever. And secondly, it should tell you that Bitcoin making a new all-time high before the halving, something is different with this cycle, right? Something is different. So we have to be prepared for all scenarios. Blow off top this year, blow off top next year, 1 blow off top, 2 blow off tops, whatever the case is. That's why I put these indicators, these 6 indicators together. As the price cycle flashes, dominance begins to weaken. The MVRVZ score, the Pule multiple, the RSI and MACD readings on the monthly and weekly, as well as my friends' topping indicators, as these things begin to flash, again, you'll know it. I'll disclose to you, hey, these things are all beginning to flash, and I'm going to start taking some profits. So let's see who we have in the live stream today. Oof, Raghorn, Justin, no TA Q&A today, my friend. That's Tuesday, Thursday. Welcome in, Juan. Didn't see Meme AI. I can take a quick look. Yeah, man, meme coins are going to have a serious run. Anybody who thinks that, take a quick look at, speaking of which, I had posted this earlier today. WIF is beginning to break out of this pennant. Now, if you actually look at this chart here and you just remove the ticker symbol and you don't even pay attention to it, I don't understand how you can't look at this chart and not be bullish. I mean, forget the fact that we're talking about WIF or whatever we're talking about. This has been in a huge pennant consolidation. It's just beginning to break out now. This is on a 2-day. So you said that, 50. Oh, that's turbo. Yeah, kicking myself. I wanted to get into Turbo a long time ago, and I never did. I was just choosing between a handful of memes. But again, I don't have those low cap memes. I barely have any money in. Let's get into the price action that we're seeing on Bitcoin. Now, very, very good. Now, I'm going to hit on something in the monthly chart that's very important to keep in mind. I had just posted something early out on this today. This is the 12-hour again, guys. Now, again, this orange area was the area of consolidation that we wanted to consolidate within. Look at this. We're well above it now. This is an extremely bullish indicator, okay? This 50 and 200, well, the 50 in particular, 200's been moving up. But you can see we got this little fake out. I've spoken about this in the fact where we got a little bit of a death cross here. But very quickly recovered. Price action in this area, again, if you've been following me on this channel, everything that occurred in here, everything, I laid this out as the most likely scenario. Literally laid this out to you guys. So if you've been following me, there shouldn't have been anything that's been taking you off guard. Now, what's nice is we spent a little bit of time consolidating in here, but look what we've done. Low, high, consolidate here, high, low, right? We got all these higher lows and all these higher highs coming in. So we're just waiting for price to start going up towards 74,000. Now, once you start seeing Bitcoin, could happen as early as tomorrow, could happen as early as Thursday. But when you see Bitcoin starting to pump up towards 74,000, it's going to break. I will make that prediction right now. Okay, we've come up a few times at $74,000. That area is definitively going to break. You know, the other thing I'll quickly take a look at with you guys that I spoke to earlier, I noticed on this chart, recent price action, at least going back to 2023, when we have the 10 above the 20 above the 50, once these 10 and 20 simple moving averages begin to curl back up above the 50 after they've gotten a cross down, this typically has led to some explosive movements up. You can see this on the daily here, so we'll have to see if that plays out. Wanted to jump into the weekly. I can't unsee this. I literally just posted this out on X. This is a huge pole. This is a pennant that's forming. That's a bull flag. The other thing interesting observation I'd like to point out on this chart here that we've spoken about, this hammer green candlestick bottoming at 56.5, barring some sort of downside price action that I don't see happening, has held up. This has been our true sign of a trend reversal back to the upside. You guys remember that from a few weeks back. Now, looking at some of these indicators, something that's starting to get a little bit of attention is this bullish divergence of the RSI. That's actually incorrect. This is not bullish divergence of the RSI. You guys know that bullish divergence on the RSI is if price action is going down and the RSI is moving up, that's an indication that sell pressure is weakening and we're likely to get a move to the upside. Not guaranteed, but likely, right? In this case, what we're seeing is something called hidden bullish divergence. And that is when the RSI, you can see in this area here, in this area here, we've actually gone down on the RSI. We hit a lower level on the RSI, yet price is forming a higher low. Now, the hidden bullish divergence is still a bullish sign of a potential trend reversal or trend continuation to the upside, but there's been a little bit of misnaming on X and Twitter. This is not bullish divergence. This is hidden bullish divergence. The other thing that I'd like to point out we've been covering on here is the MACD. You can see the, let's zoom in on this MACD. See how the MACD is beginning to flatten out? Histogram's doing exactly what we want it to do, and we should start to see a curl up as long as we see price continuation to the upside. Stochastic RSI with this weekly candlestick print, we have a confirmation on the stochastic RSI of a trend continuation to the upside and momentum. Why do I say that? Blue is above orange, but most importantly, we have our blue above the 20 trigger line. Now, this is what I wanted to talk about here. Of course, I've spoken to you about the bullish engulfing potential candle for May, what that would signal for June and July, most likely, at least for the next couple months, and how bullish that would be. But the other thing I'd like to point out to you guys, I really want to kind of simplify your lives for a moment, and I had posted this out. Let's pretend you really didn't know a lot about technical analysis, right? You came in here, you didn't really understand these price indicators and everything, and didn't really know what to look for. If I told you literally, this is our all-time high at 69,000. We have since corrected, had God, I can't think, jeez. Love when that happens on live TV. We had this bottoming bottoming price action here, I cannot think. It's almost like a cup and handle, right? Bottoming formation here. Keep coming back to a word that's stuck in my head that I can't think of for some reason. But we have a bottoming formation here. What have we done since then, guys? This is not overly complicated, okay? We topped here. We came all the way back up here, and we've literally for 3 months consolidated here. You tell me, if price has come up to a prior area that was an all-time high in 2022, and it didn't quickly get rejected and turn massively to the downside, but instead, it literally stayed there for 2 to 3 months and just consolidated, you tell me if that's bullish or bearish. What do you think? I mean, there's a couple different scenarios that could occur here. When you go up to prior all-time highs, you could come up here, you could do one of these things and try and continuation to the upside. You could blow well past it. You could come up here, get rejected, and start doing this. Or you could come up here and just consolidate for a long period of time. Guys, this consolidation at prior all-time highs is monumentally bullish. There's no chart that I wouldn't show. It's not a Bitcoin thing. This isn't a biased how I want crypto to look thing. This is a basic technical analysis thing, guys. Anyone who's calling this a triple top literally doesn't have a fucking clue what they're talking about. If you are here's what I respect. I respect differing opinions and thought processes that challenge my own. It's one of the best ways for personal and self-growth. It's one of the best ways that we can evolve as a technical analyst in this case. What I don't respect is someone calling a triple top here when there's nothing in the fucking chart to suggest that. There's literally nothing here to suggest this is a triple top. What in this chart is telling you there's a triple top? Besides the fact that we got rejected initially at the all-time high, we won a little bit above it, and now we're just consolidating and fluctuating back and forth. How is that? There's literally nothing in these charts that is saying there's a triple top. I don't understand the people that are calling for that. This is monumentally bullish. If we pulled up a chart of the DXY, if we pulled up a chart of the NASDAQ, if we pulled up a chart of XRP, if we pulled up a chart of Solana and it was doing this, this is monumentally bullish, guys. It's maybe the biggest takeaway you can take from current price action. If we take a look at Ethereum, Ethereum has seen some very nice follow-through, guys. Again, it would have been one thing last week if this wick was a lot more extended down here. We literally ate up this resistance, and now we're just waiting to get past $4,000. That's all that's happening. Now remember, these areas of red, areas of resistance here are going to stay red until our confirming candlestick, which is this one, prints above this line and above this line. It is entirely possible with the strength that is being seen within the chart of Ethereum here that by this week we could be above $4,000. Again, I have told you, was I not out here on May 1st and I said I would not be surprised, come back to this video. You can go back to my live stream on May 1st. I think more than likely that today, on May 1st, the lows are in for the month of May. I said that. I've also said that when things change, they change on a dime, guys. Everybody was getting all blah, 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 blah. And I said there is nothing to be concerned about. There's nothing to be concerned about. There's nothing to be concerned about. Things are taking a little bit longer than I expected and many I respect expected. But there's nothing to be concerned about. When this market changes, it changes on a motherfucking dime. And it has changed. Ethereum is consolidating right at $4,000. If we take a look at the technical indicators, MACD is starting to turn green. We have a positive confirmation in the stochastic RSI above 20. The RSI is pushing up towards 70. It's looking great. Look at ETH BTC. Now, if we flip this to a weekly, we've come right up to this prior area of support, and we're trying to get above it. Remember, I laid out the scenarios to you last week. This is a chart you should be watching very closely. For everyone, it's different. This shit happens all the time. Been here way too long. For the people similarly who were saying that Solana was dead, and I put out a video in the dead heat of when people said Solana was dead at like $15. And basically in that video said, how could you not love the chart of Solana? This thing's going a shit ton higher, and it did. People are shitting on Ethereum and saying it's not going to do anything. Guys, I've told you two things. One, be a contrarian. There's nothing in the chart. It's a beautiful chart. Ethereum's going to do very well. Two, I don't really care what your fundamental view on Ethereum is. Once Ethereum takes off, that's going to give a whole ton of confidence to the rest of the altcoin market. We want to see Ethereum do well, right? So this is a chart you should be watching closely. Bitcoin dominance, guys. Again, I'm not going to call in alt season too early. There is no confirmation in this chart. As weak as it's beginning to look, and as much as I think this is going to break down, I'm not going to jump the gun here. I need to see 53% broken and held as resistance. So I don't want to see a wick down here. I want to see us close below 53. We make an attempt to get back above 53 and roll over. That is what I'm expecting. But until that happens, I'm not going to say that alt season is here. Of course, if we look, I think the other thing I saw somebody share, yeah, there's negative divergence on the RSI. So there's negative divergence on the RSI. But I think most importantly, what I had pointed out holds. I mean, this ascending line of support, much like price action, when this ascending line of support on the RSI broke, I told you it would act as resistance. Literally, you can go back to my older videos. This is exactly what I said would happen, okay? The RSI is going to go down. The dominance is going to go down. Let's go down, but let's wait for confirmation. Let's not jump the gun. We want to see 53% break. Caspa. Again, real quick here, guys, everybody who's getting salty about Caspa, I don't know what to tell you. It's a glorious chart. We have a candle body close back above the 10 simple moving average. When we've seen price action get below the 10 simple moving average, historically, it's a young chart. It's an immature chart. There's not a lot of price data here like with most of the projects out there. But what this chart tells you is if you can get price action, if you can accumulate under the 10 simple moving average, that is what you should be doing. Because once we break back above the 10 simple moving average, we get a monumental move to the upside. I'm expecting this thing to go monumentally higher in the next couple months. Caspa BTC is looking good. We already talked about that. Total 3, we haven't looked at Total 3 in a while now. As a refresher, Total 3 is your total entire cryptocurrency market cap, but we're stripping out Bitcoin and we're stripping out Ethereum. Why would you want to do that? Look at the market cap size of Bitcoin, 1.35 trillion. Ethereum is 470 billion, okay? The next biggest, I mean, if we go down the chart here, I mean, you see Tether at 100 billion, 80, 70, 30. There's big drop-offs here. Look at how small these things are. So Bitcoin and Ethereum tend to overshadow our view of the entire cryptocurrency market cap space. So in order to get a more fair assessment of altcoins, what we can do is strip those two out, and we see Total 3, which is really a more accurate depiction of the relative strength within altcoins. So what do we see here? Well, I kept this in intentionally. Let me just point this out to you guys real quick. I remember, shout out to all the OGs on the channel. I remember we had been talking about this area for fucking ever. We were down here, and it was not a fun time. People were not having a fun time. They were French frying when they should have been pizza. And if you don't know what that reference comes from, it's South Park. It's the 80s episode of South Park. If you French fry when you should pizza, you're going to have a bad time. Now, we got well above there, and as you can see, we have gone a fuck ton higher, okay? Very similar thought process as Bitcoin here. You can see since rejecting from this level, we've come all the way back up basically to that same level. And now we're just consolidating and waiting for a move higher. Now, again, this is on the weekly. If we flip to the technicals here, you can see that MACD with the rest of the market, what the alts are starting to do, they're starting to pick up momentum, regain momentum. I will make an educated guess that this stochastic RSI, you can't see the reading because my beautiful face is in the way. The stochastic RSI is at 13.7. It's at 13 over 8. I bet you by the end of the week, we're going to get a bullish confirmation above 20, which will suggest momentum and trend momentum continuation to the upside, okay? RSI is above a key level at 60, I'm showing here. Things are looking good. Momentum is starting. This correction that took place here, there was only a few weeks, guys. We have ADHD within the crypto community. People cannot stand sideways price action, which is so healthy. As I've said to you before, I hope that I am wrong. Well, I'm proving to be wrong on timing. I hope this this bull run continues into 2025, into the first quarter, second quarter of 2025. I hope it does. Because as I've said to you before, that extended period of time allows for cool-offs, run-ups, ramp-ups, and valuation cool-offs, a longer runway for a higher potential market cap for the entire space and higher price targets for all of our projects. So things are looking good here. Here's a different view, the Gaussian channel on the weekly for the others. Now, what is the others market cap? This is removing the top 10. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, I think I saw Ton was in there, Doge. Removing all those out. I think Cardano's still in there, right? Cardano, are you hanging on? Oh, right at 10. Again, the Gaussian channel, when you see this thing flip green, historically it's been a huge bullish indicator to you that we're going to see some massive trend continuation to the upside. Look how long this thing was green back here in 2020. Here's a great counterpoint to, again, what I had originally come up with. If this stayed green as long as it stayed green there, we could have this thing green all the way until, you can see we go, well, it's not going to, I don't know that it's going to be green that long out into out into 2026. But this suggests a massive amount of time until we still have an extended amount of time until we're going to see prices get very overheated and we enter a massive bear market here. But you can see we've had a beautiful, look at this thing. Since we've corrected, look at this rounding bottom. Like everything practically has a rounding bottom. We're just waiting for momentum to pick up and essentially do that. That is what we're waiting for. For that final last gasp to take us much, much higher. Keep in mind, just for purposes of perspective here, and you can see the same thing on the price indicators are starting to turn around. No point in looking at it. It's the same thing. I want you to keep perspective with me, okay? Let's pretend, let's get in our DeLorean. What was the speed in the DeLorean? Was it 88 miles an hour or 89 miles an hour? Anyone drop me a comment here. What was the speed that they had to do in the DeLorean to go to time travel? I forget if it was 88 miles per hour. Now, I could ask ChatGPT. Want me to ask ChatGPT on the spot? Here, I'm going to ask ChatGPT. This is the power of ChatGPT. Get ready, everybody. In Back to the Future, what speed did the DeLorean need to get to time travel? Was it 88 miles per hour or 89 miles per hour?
In Back to the Future, the DeLorean needed to reach 88 miles per hour to time travel.
Ooh. I fucking know my movies. I know my 80s movies. That's the thing. By the way, speaking of movies, did take a little bit of time. It's a rarity for me because I really don't watch a lot of TV. I took the time to watch a movie yesterday, and it was a new movie that came out on Netflix, and I was like, oh, this sounds interesting, and it had Jennifer Lopez in it. It's a sci-fi. It's called Atlas. I don't really recommend it. I actually didn't finish the movie. I was like 2/3 of the way through, and I was like, whatever, I'm getting tired. I'm going to bed. Very disinterested. I just don't recommend it. She's in that fucking mech thing, AI thing. She's in there. It's the whole movie, and it's for me personally, it was boring as hell, but I don't know. It's not a good movie to watch. Not a good choice. But anyway, we're going to pretend that we're time traveling in our DeLorean, which ChatGPT just confirmed was 88 miles per hour. And we're going to go back to the year 2020. Think about where you were at in 2020. Ooh, beer virus. We were all the way down here. I want you to really take this in. All kidding aside, I really want you to take this in. We were sitting here, look at the valuations of the total others market cap. Everything outside of the top 10. Think about this. This is hard to believe. This is actually hard to think about. Everything within the top 10, once we began to recover and we were consolidating, let's just call it this time period right in here, we were valued between $30 to $44 billion in total. Every cryptocurrency project outside of the top 10 was $30 to $40 billion. Now, I just want to go outside the top 10. Let's go to 11. Okay, so already these three here, this really puts it in perspective. Shiba Inu, Avalanche, and DOT, if you were to combine their market caps today, just those 3 projects, it exceeded the entire market cap of all of crypto outside of the top 10. Think about that. Okay? Now, if we fast forward, look at the rate of appreciation, not just the level of appreciation. Look how quickly this happened. All this time period. This may not look like a lot. This was from March to the end of the year in December. This was 9 months of consolidation in here. Watch what happened. Does that not look, now that doesn't look like a lot, right? But in the blink of an eye, within 4 months, we hit a $430 billion market cap. We did a 10x. We literally did a 10x in 4 months. And then we went even higher, up to nearly $500 billion at the end of 2021. Guys, the whole point of this is, I'm not telling you that we're going to do a 10x from current levels and we're going up to 3 trillion. That's not the point of the conversation. The point of the conversation is, what have we been doing in this entire time period here? We've recovered, right? This was our bottoming zone. This was a recovery period. And now we're getting into true expansion. Could it be a 5x from here, a 10x from here, a 20x from here? One thing is for sure in my mind, because I've been here long enough and matured enough as an investor to recognize this. Whatever happens in this market will not be what the majority are thinking. So pick your midpoint. Well, no, that's probably not a good way to put it. Think of the most popular narratives out there. Think of the most popular narratives, right? Think of the most popular narratives the past year and a half, guys. The stock market should be down at depression levels. Guys, we were entering a massive depression, right? Everybody's been calling for that since 2022, right? There were some crypto analysts out there. I'm going to be nice. I'm not going to name names. There were crypto analysts out there when Bitcoin was in this range here calling for 5,000, right? Captain Clickbait calling for $5,000, right? Getting interviewed on all the channels, getting those subs and followers up, feeding into that fear, clickbait fear porn, right? Never happened, right? So whatever the primary predominant view is, kind of as things continue, the unexpected will happen, right? Does that mean we underwhelm? Does that mean we overwhelm? We shall see. But whatever the primary view is, I would be very cautious and take a contrarian view. What other charts? Maybe this is something we'll get into a little bit later, but this is the copper-gold ratio, and some of you may be aware and have charted this in the past, but I was reminded to share this with you because when I was listening to Raoul Paul's The Journeyman today, they covered this chart, this copper-gold ratio on here, and I know this is something also that TechDev touches on. But if you kind of think about things, and this is one of these views that lends itself to the narrative that we still have a long way to go, that we may not see a topping in this market until mid-2025. This is one of these views. Historically, what happens is when the economy is truly turning around, okay, and we start entering a really high growth stage for our asset classes, what you have is copper outperforming gold. And intuitively, that should make sense. Why would copper outperform gold? Well, copper, if you think about it, is a material, a resource that is used in building, construction. It's used in so many different things. So if economic forecasts kind of behind the scenes are showing growth within different sectors, optimism, money is flooding into those areas, these resources are going to be viewed as being oversold and underappreciated. And so they'll get bid up, right? And they get bid right up. Historically, if you look at the past twice here, they get bid up with the rest of the cyclical nature of the market until we get our blow-off phase, right? So right now what we're beginning to see is the expansionary phase here. This is what this is suggesting because we're starting to see these 2-week candlesticks. Now I'm looking at this on a 2-week. I thought I was looking at this on a weekly. But we're beginning to see the 2-week candlesticks not only above the 10, the middle line in that Bollinger Band, but it's beginning to go outside the Bollinger Band. And as you can see here, when we've done that in the past, we've seen massive expansionary periods. And again, this is something that Raoul Paul touches on in his everything code that I was reminded of today. And this is something that Tech Dev, if you subscribe to his newsletter, does a great job on delving into much greater detail. One of the things I'm actually going to be looking into, Raoul has definitely advertised it enough. I'm going to look into becoming a member of their Real Vision platform. It's one of those things where you delegate time to only so many things, but I just really appreciate his views on things, and it's very logical and sensical in nature. So again, we have views showing us, hey, this view, for instance, this copper gold view here, this is showing us momentum is just beginning to pick up. And if things are like the past, we still have many more months to the upside. So again, that's why I don't want to be married to a timing narrative. And instead, what I would encourage everyone here to do is to follow me on these topping indicators. These topping indicators that we've looked at, that you should be familiar with. They're in the YouTube video I have out there. If you're not familiar with them, get familiar with them. This is something that I'll update you on an as-needed basis. If May comes in as bullish as I believe it's going to be, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, I want to see how this month prints out here. Of course, we will have a monthly close on Friday. Could consider doing a live stream, probably not Saturday, but I will consider doing a live stream on Sunday, the 2nd, so we can cover the monthly close. But if the month of May comes in as bullish as I suspect it will be, I believe that there will be, I'm not exaggerating when I say this, I choose my words carefully, so really listen to what I'm about to say. I believe there will be potential fireworks June-July timeframe. So I will be very interested to see how we close out this month. I think June and July are setting up for a potential. All these charts that I've spoken to, that I continue to point to, certain altcoins we take a look at. We take a look at Caspa, and we see more than likely over the coming handful of next several weeks, more than likely we're going to see some explosive price action to the upside. Dominance is losing ground, leading us to believe that 53% is going to break soon. Ethereum is beginning to pick up and gain valuation on Bitcoin and begin to outpace it. Bitcoin, okay, just as at the same time as this is happening, all the indicators on Bitcoin's timeframes are beginning to turn around from a period of consolidation, accumulation, and a corrective period to more of a back towards the upswing, and we're literally like 5% from all-time highs. We're literally just accumulating right at the prior all-time high, 69,000. Guys, things are just pointing their way up here, okay? So let's be patient. Let's see how the month prints. And I'll probably be back here on Sunday for the monthly close as well. Make sure that you know, guys, as a reminder, thank you, and thumbs up. Need help on the engagement, trying to get this content out to more people. Thumbs up. It does go a long way and helps. Just as a reminder, before everyone tunes out, I'm actually going to get to the comments real quick here. Tomorrow, 5:30. Wednesday, 5:30. I'm back on normal track here. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday's going to be that real early day around 5:15 Eastern Standard Time. Thursday, just like Tuesday, is a live TA Q&A segment, so I'm hoping to connect with a different audience at that time. Don't know if I'll be on video at that time, but I'll at least be on audio. So we're going to try that out. Friday's an optional day, right? Trying to create a little bit more balance for myself. So Friday will be an optional day. We'll see how the day goes. Probably dependent on price action as well. But let's get into the comments here. So you're saying the price cycle top tells us that the end is near, I'd say less than 8 months. I didn't look at the price cycle top from that perspective, that it has less than 8 months. Maybe you can elaborate. Elaborate on that tomorrow when I take TA Q&A. I'm going to remember you said that. I want you to elaborate on that. I heard something about Wojak earlier today. Didn't look at it, but certainly would be interested in charting it tomorrow. Might put it on the meme. Might put it on my meme watch list, my friend. Yeah, sorry to hear about that. I get so careful. You have no idea. I'm bad with checking my DMs to begin with on Twitter, but I get so many people reaching out and asking me to get involved in this or involved in that. And there are a few people who reach out who seem, I'd like to think they're good-natured. I don't know them. They don't know me. I don't know. And quite frankly, I just don't have time. But then there's a lot of people that reach out. I don't give them the time of day. I'm just very careful what I get involved with. Because the thing, just like I had a guy come up to me. I'll relate this to the gym real quick. I had a guy come up to me when I was doing my chest day yesterday. And he's like, "What are you on?" And I was like, I just looked at him. I said, "I'm fucking high on life." And I just said, "Hey man, I just work my ass off. I treat my body like a temple. I've never touched a single thing." And I really do believe in that. I think you have to be real careful with what you put in your body. Same thing, who you surround yourself with in your finances, right? I've got a great job. I'm excited about my job. My portfolio looks incredible. I'm excited about that. I don't have a criminal record. I'm a pretty things are going well, right? So I don't want to introduce instability into my life and something that could be a scam. And then I try to get people onto this platform that I think is good, and then they rug pull, and then people are upset with me. And I don't want to get involved with that shit, man. I don't need that in my life. I don't know why it's called hidden bullish divergence, my friend. But maybe because I will be honest with you. Bullish divergences, that's one of the first things I look for. And you guys know that. I always point that out. Hidden bullish divergence, in the trading classes or chart reading classes I went through back in 2016, I don't know that we really covered hidden bullish divergence. I don't remember it too much. So I know that I don't look for it as often. And I quite frankly, I'm being 100% truthful with you. A lot of times I miss it, because I'm not actively thinking to look for it. And I don't think it was something that was taught to me. So it's not really first in my mind. The only reason I guess it's hidden is because you have price going up, yet the RSI is making lower low. So it's hidden bullish divergence. I don't know how else to. I'd rather get rich sooner rather than later. Well, Oof, keep in mind, for everyone, I'll leave you with this message real quick. I really want you to think about this. If I told you that, and I've tried to hit home on this so many different times. If I told you that Bitcoin was going to have a blow off top in July, still a possibility, maybe August, but Bitcoin has a blow-off top in August, okay? And its blow-off top was $95,000, okay? Or I told you that Bitcoin had a blow-off top and it was March of 2025 and it was $140,000. I mean, which would you take? Obviously, I would hope you take scenario B, because not only is it a higher price in Bitcoin, it's also more money, more exuberance that will come into your altcoins, right? A higher market cap for everything. And the reason I'm laying those two scenarios out to you is because it's more probabilistic for a higher price point to be reached, the more runway there is. The shorter the time period, the less the chance of a higher price versus having a longer runway. Remember, we don't want to go up too high too fast, right? I've talked about this in the past. The more time we have, okay, let's just theorize for a second. The more time we have to do this, okay, doing something like that, okay, versus something like this. Okay, there's more runway to allow for accumulation and continuation to the upside. We don't want to get too hot too fast. Okay, food for thought. But regardless, whatever the market throws our way, I want you to feel confident, and I want you to do your own homework. It's not all on me to show you what to do, or you shouldn't be solely. I hope no one here is solely relying on me. I'm probably the only technical analyst in this space that will tell you this. please do not come to my channel for the only content on crypto. I am not an expert. I do not know everything. I never will. I don't pretend to. I'm a humble individual educating myself and learning just like you. The thing I feel I excel at is being able to communicate key points that kind of hit home, make sense, and you'll remember, right? But you should take this. I always say this, and my brother makes fun of me. This is one of the tools in your toolbox, okay? I am one of the tools in your toolbox, and I hope these indicators here that I've laid out here, these indicators in this video that I created a couple months ago at this point, a month or two ago, you use that in your arsenal to help decide when to best sell. Again, it's empirical data that's, at some point, these indicators, they aren't 100% foolproof. Some of them are going to fail. Some of them may fail this cycle, but if you look at several of them, premium services, okay, if you look at several of them, and several of them are flashing to sell, it should give you a good indication that things are well overheated and it's time to get out. Guys, do you love that I wear the same shirts all the time? Isn't that fantastic? Hey, I am in the tank top. It's just too fucking hot. I didn't feel like wearing a t-shirt. I haven't felt like wearing a t-shirt lately. I'll be back to black t-shirts, though. Can't wear a tank top at work. All right, guys. Till next time, let's all spread awareness and carry the education forward. I'll see you back here tomorrow. And thank you so much for tuning in.